All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are other mediums to this, my FX Buddies. So, uh, anywhere, if this is your first time here, welcome. Hey, give it time, you'll get used to me. All right, um, let's see. So, Apple Podcast, Rumble.com, but my FX Buddies. Uh, What else? RSS.com has a transcript. So in case you rewound and you still don't know what I said, you could go there and pull up the transcript. My FX buddies. Let me see. Uh, the blog, the most important. The blog is myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. All right. So, and anywhere that you are enjoying this content, there is like a open more info, intro, description, something like that box. In there, there will be a link to the blog, and then that way it's easier for you to find. All right. So it is Thursday. And I am doing another, 2 days in a row, right? And that's how it is. Sometimes there's nothing, and there'll be 3, 4 days where I don't update. And then some days it's 2 days in a row. There's something worth reporting. And today is something worth whatever. All right, so let's get into it. So the title article, oh, I said it's Thursday, December 5th, 2024. If I didn't, I did now. All right, Ernst Young reveals the completion rate of the Rafidain Bank restructuring project. So this was a very big story over there this morning. It's on multiple news sites. It's even the CBI has an article about it. Um, they even showed it in their news on TV. So this was important to them. I don't think it is important, right? Obviously to them, but I don't think it has anything to do with the RV, but maybe it does. So remember, they wanted to restructure both the Rafidain Bank and the Rashid banks, and those are both state banks. And they were going to merge the two. And I guess something happened and they were like, no, you can't go that route. So then they said, okay, we'll just restructure Rafidain. So if you read this article, look who's here. The Minister of Finance is there. Of course, Ali Alak is there. Head of the World Bank mission in Iraq is there. And then the Ernst Young people. And then there's someone, if you look here, someone's being videoed in. I wonder who that guy is. But, so yeah. All right. So let's see. And they, other things, you could read this if you want. But here, they're 74% done as of September. And here we are in December. They could be even more done, right? And so they're currently reached 74% of the process. And the next phase of the scope of work will be completed at the end of this month, moving to an advanced stage in this project. So they're moving to an advanced stage. I like that. Don't necessarily know what it means. But the more that I read, I think they want to turn Rafidain Bank into one of the banks that are going to be able to deal with dollars the new way. Once the auction goes away, uh, the only certain banks are going to be able to deal in dollars. And so far, it seems the banks that have been approved are Jordanian and other Gulf country banks. That's some of the people's complaints. Sorry, that's some of the economists and members of the Parliamentary Finance Committee. Some of their complaints are like, wait, okay, you cleared these other countries' banks to deal with the dollar, but none of ours? What's up with that, right? So, yeah. So there, Ernst Young is there. The expert auditor and consultant is involved in the restructuring process, and so there, I just put two, but basically they say the same thing, right? I tried to make this. I don't know why these things revert back to. Well, in Arabic they read from right to left, so that's how their articles are formatted. And I really try to break that, but anyway, so here, let's see. Member of Parliament reveals the reason for the secrecy of the Parliament session, and Sadani wants to change 6 ministers. Okay, so if you didn't listen to yesterday, so this is episode 141. Uh, Listen, or at least go to the blog. See, that's another thing. If you don't want to listen to my 30-minute presentation or whatever you call it, you can go to the blog and just read the articles, right? That's another reason. But so Sadani interrupted. No, Sadani went to Parliament yesterday, and apparently he spoke for 90 minutes. There was a session that was 90 minutes. So um, it was closed to the public, but then later they showed, I'm sure an edited version. They showed that on TV for the people to watch. So, I watched it. It was all in Arabic, but it's just interesting to see their process and I forget the word of a ceremony. But anyway, so let's see. Is this the one? Yes. So this article, I think you should read. Look, there's something there in red and blue. But I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna cover this. So um he let's see, I wanted to show you. Okay, yeah. So um these people here are the members of parliament, right? And see there's various ones. There's ladies with their hair out. There's ladies with their hair wrapped. There's tribal people or whatever you call them, and then people in business suits. So a good representation of Iraq, right? So then here on this top level is the House Speaker, which is considered one of the presidents of the country, and I cannot remember his name. I know it's Mandashani or something like that. And then this is the second deputy House Speaker, and this is the first deputy House Speaker. And then right here in this like mid lower platform, but it's still higher than the members of parliament. Notice that? There's Sudani right there. There's Sudani. This is Fawad Hussein, the foreign minister. This is the interior minister. The other ones I don't know who they are, but I think it says in the article who's there with him, but that's not important. But I just wanted you to see how they're set up in the level of highness, right? But anyway, so they said that the session was calm, in order. Let's see. This person is complaining they weren't able to ask questions, but they were. But so maybe he wasn't able to ask questions, but I saw people speaking. Different members of parliament were speaking. One guy even had like a 5-page written remark. Remember? I think I said that yesterday. But so he told them about he does want to change 6 ministers. If you don't remember, when Sudani got in, 6 months later, he was supposed to shuffle the ministerial cabinet, and he never did. And he talked about that, but who cares? But anyway, but look at this right here. This guy is one of the members of parliament. He says the party leaders are cooking the dish, but we don't taste anything of it. So they're like, yeah, doing all this work, but nothing's coming of it, right? The security people, the security leaders gave reassurances to the Iraqi street, stressing that the situation in Iraq now is not like it was in 2014. And that phrase is in the news a lot, and I'm not sure what it means. I mean, other than that's when ISIS was there. And so maybe some people are fearful that if the American sources, not sources, what are we? Soldiers or whatever, even though they don't call the international coalition, if they leave, maybe they're afraid ISIS will come back. I don't know. So they talked about Syria and everything that's going there. And here, Sadani spoke in one of the articles. It says he spoke angrily about the leaks that are going on, and he called lie of the century. The leaks are a case before the judiciary that cannot be denied because they have these people on recordings, video, and they're still saying, no, I didn't do that. I didn't leak that information out. Here, so regarding the financial and economic file, Sudani sent messages not to increase next year's budget and that next year's budget is unfair and we have reservations about it, explaining that some ministers are spending their own pockets and there's a weakness in financial liquidity and the price of oil is worrying. So remember, someone was saying there were all these complaints about liquidity, and Muhammad Saleh was like, no, there's no problem with liquidity, right? And so now here he is talking about a weakness in financial liquidity. And so here the government, he said Sadani talked about the government has been manipulating the budget file, and Mandelawi is innocent of the issue of manipulating the budget, suggesting establishing a company to manage Kurdistan's oil and linking it to the ministry. And remember, they were kind of working on that. Remember, there was something about in 60 days they were going to have a representative, to be like a go-between between Baghdad and the Kurds. So what boils down to, so that's the end of that article. Now, another big story today was these paragraphs. And see, Sudani doesn't trust the members of government or whoever. It's obvious, it's been proven that 2024, oh, look at that green basin ahead now. The government, someone in the government manipulated the schedules, right? So now he's only sending to them the paragraphs that they need, not the whole law or subject or whatever. So there's 3 paragraphs, and here's the documents. This is 2, and here's the 3rd one. These are the ones that they're currently trying to amend. And so it was their intention. So they went today. They didn't vote on it yesterday. They went in today. I believe it was their intention to pass because usually when they put these documents like this in the news, for the people to see, they are about to vote on it. But guess what happened? The Kurds left. The Kurds walked out, and there was no quorum, so they didn't vote. It is on schedule again for Saturday. So we'll see. Here's another. This is the article that's on the CBI website about the restructuring, and just a few more pictures. So here, Bulgaria seeks investment in Karbala. Who knew? So that article is there if you want to read that. This is an interesting article. Iran is looking for dollars in Iraq. And I'm sorry about the size of the font. I try to make it smaller and it just gets bigger. So forgive me, whatever. Maybe you can adjust it on your side. But they talk about the the sanctions and how the sanctions are hurting Iran, and and just now the other day, the U.S. Treasury put 35 new sanctions on either Iranian people or entities. So it's just going through and explaining how when we squeeze Iran has to try to get what they need from Iraq, right? And that's part of the ordeal with the T-man coming in. But people are already making moves, right? Because they're uh, anticipating certain things. So they're already making moves for what they feel he may do. But look, some of these sanctions go all the way back to 1979. All right, so there's a part down here towards the. They go on to talk about um, products that come flood. So Iran floods Iraq with their products, so the people will buy the products and they'll get money, right? That's a source of revenue for them. But also, I don't know if you know, Iran's currency is at a record low right now. Yeah, just keep that in mind. Iraq pays the price for Iran's circumvention of sanctions. So it talks a little bit about that. But there's a mention of the World Trade Organization and how Iraq is not affiliated with them. What is it? Here it is. Oh, well, see, it didn't bold. Well, yeah, so you have to go. It's actually, if you know how to use Control F, do a search, do Control F and put in WTO, and it'll take you right to that part. But here it's Safwan Quase again. He's being quoted. He pointed out that Iraq's non-affiliation with the World Trade Organization. So there it is. There's someone else saying Iraq is not part of, well, they're an observing agent, but they're not in it. They're still not a full member of the World Trade Organization. But so he says, it made it, because they're not affiliated with them, it made it easy for Iran to target them and flood the Iraqi market with their products. And he explained if they were part, affiliation with the WTO would enable Iraq to defend its local production. So, but yeah, so it's a interesting, things we don't understand because all we know is dollars, right? Although you see Bitcoin. Look, and that's how crazy Bitcoin is. It went up to 103,000 plus. Now it's back down to 98 in the same day. Well, for us, the same day. But anyway, so here Kwasi called on those concerned in Iraq to draw a clear map for imports with long-term contracts from known sources, indicating that this matter can be used to import specific types of Iranian goods and commodities in a manner that is compatible with the Iraqi market. Plus, there was a time, and then they talk about how they can preserve hard currency, but there was a time that the people were boycotting Iranian. Oh, a referee is hurt. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't be watching the game. The citizens were had signs up in stores and everything saying don't buy Iranian goods. So I don't know, but I don't hear anything else about that. So maybe it didn't last long. So here, a new parliamentary meeting to study draft amendment to the budget. So now the Parliamentary Finance Committee, they want to have another meeting with Miss Sammy, the finance minister. So, but she didn't go. And I'm thinking Sudani probably told her, don't go, don't waste your time. Because the Kurds are playing games anyway. Now look at this. This is very interesting. There was no pre-announcement, no fanfare, nothing. Halabusi. Does that name sound familiar? Yeah, that guy, the House Speaker that was out and wreaked havoc, so they couldn't get a new House Speaker for over a year. He's over here in America. Halabusi affirmed support for the Iraqi government in a meeting with the U.S. State Department. And remember Barbara Leaf? Right here, this lady. We don't see her that much, but her position is U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs. So in this first sentence, they talked about actions to stop wars in the region, right? But the last this right here, I think this is important. I can't highlight it. According to the statement, the meeting discussed bilateral relations and cooperation between the two friendly countries, the importance of continuing support for Iraq and its stability, and emphasizing support for the Iraqi government in its steps and political support for it to complete its government program. Remember, that's supposedly Sudani's government program, and it has everything. The digitization, point of sale, all of that probably has the rate change in it also. So yeah, and that is not, I found it on one little website. It's a short little article. And if you know, I've repeated, in my experience of reading these articles, usually little tiny ones don't, they end up, if you look back, they end up having huge impact later. So, all right, let's see. This is, I thought this was a repeat, and if you look at it, the title may seem familiar to you too. It says, Through Baghdad, Washington addresses Tehran about its bases in Syria. So, there's, stuff going on in Syria, and Washington and Tehran are talking to each other through Baghdad. So, that's, and then there was an article I was trying to read, but when it comes to military stuff, I just don't understand. But it seems we have moved, we being like the military. There's that one base that gets aggressive actions dropped on it. It's AL-AIN. I don't know how to pronounce that. They've moved resources, I'll just say that, military resources from that base to another base in Syria. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Is that preemptive or reactionary, right? I don't know, I can't tell. Plus, it kind of bothers me that they put that information out, right? I shouldn't be able to read that here in my little room, in my little part of the country. But whatever. All right. So, let's see. Sudani reveals the non-payment of salaries of Kurdistan employees. So, in 4 cities or governances, whatever, there are people who have not been paid. So it's not countrywide. It's not even all of Kurdistan. It's a group of people that work for what, I don't know. But they haven't been paid. Some articles say 2 months, some say 3 months. So they've been coordinating and peacefully, for now, demonstrating. And Sudani even addressed it here, like they said, Sudani talked about it. The Kurds are the ones that are pulling out. But if you want to read that, you can read that. All right, here, look at this. Deloitte. Oil field services sector will be stronger under the T-Man. So there's something. It's we have we're going over there to help there's going to be mergers, but basically we're going to help refine the refining process. Okay, there's two words. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to use the same word back. What? But I can't think of another word. Improve, consolidate. I don't know, whatever. But our refining technology is way better than, well, I'm a proud American. So, but it has been proven. We've got technology because we had to, right? We were forced because of all the regulations and everything that the greenies put on our coal and oil companies. We've got very clean refining technologies, right? So I think that's part of what we go over there to do also. So we can help them clean their air. They do have very dirty air, and there's lots of cancer and yeah, so there's a certain segment. That's why they're trying to go green, to try, to just be more healthy, have a more healthful environment. So there's that article. What's this? Here's another article about the paragraphs that they want to change. And then here, despite the ceasefire agreement, Ice Cream Land's army kablooies homes in southern Lebanon. And look, those were some nice homes, weren't they? Big, huge homes. I thought they were office buildings, but if that's the correct picture, which it looks like it is, but so you can read about that if you like. And so, no, it's still, the ceasefire is still in place because that's just a violation. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, let's see. Here's another article about how we speak with Tehran through Baghdad. We're almost done here. All right. Here's an article about CENTCOM and the Houthis. What's this? Oh, here's something else Alia Locke did. Alia Locke is the CBI governor. He received representatives of the Innovation Center at the Dubai International Financial Center. So when did he get there? Are they actually in Dubai? I don't know. Whatever. But there he is having another meeting, and what did they talk about? During which ways of cooperation were discussed in the areas of enhancing innovation, entrepreneurship, adopting financial technology, artificial intelligence, and advanced infrastructure. So it's pretty big, meeting, pretty important. The statement added that the meeting reviewed opportunities to support innovation in banking systems, electronic payment solutions, and provide opportunities for emerging companies in these fields to enter Iraq, regional and global markets. So they are thinking big, right? I like that. And here, Kurdish objection to budget law postpones parliament session until next Saturday. So I think, oh yeah, tomorrow the UN Security Council will hold a special session on Iraq. But remember, they do that. I think they do that at least twice a year. But this obviously will be the last one for this year. Jenny from the UN, she used to speak either in person or via video, right? So this will be the first one under the new guy, Mohammed, what's his name? Mohammed Al-Hassan. He took her place. All right. Oh, Honeywell. Yeah, Honeywell also. I think Honeywell did go to Iraq, and they had a meeting discussing development of Iraqi oil refineries, basically a follow-up on the meetings that took place in Houston in September. Oh, man, I forgot about this article. Okay, give me 2 minutes. This came out just as I was getting ready to do this blog. I actually could have made this the focus. So, warning against the consequences of canceling the dollar selling platform in Iraq. So, and there was a guy who asked a question. He left a comment, and I was like, oh, that's a lot. He asked about, he doesn't understand the currency auction and some other stuff. So, I'm hoping he will hear this and also go read this article. So, warning against the consequences of canceling the dollar selling platform in Iraq. The green currency is hostage to Jordan and the Gulf states. So, remember I mentioned that earlier. So, this is Hantush. What's his first name? I can't remember. Maybe he might be another Muhammad. Mustafa. I think he's Mustafa Hantush. Yeah, Mustafa Hantush. He warned. Okay, and remember I said he's just an economist, so he doesn't know all the details. And it's been proven they have issues with people leaking information, changing information. So Sudani is only letting those who need to know at the time know. So now the currency auction is where they sell dollars. They sell dollars to banks that need dollars for whatever. But it's also been proven they know that's where a lot of the fraud and smuggling happens. And most of it, like $300 million worth of dollars can be sold. Maybe 15 million will be cash that will stay in the country. The rest goes abroad. And then they can only track it so far. And that's where a lot of the smuggling and money laundering happens. But also, if they don't put dollars in their economy, the parallel market rate rises, and then other things happen. Prices of goods rise, which means inflation rises, and it makes life difficult. So that's why there's no way they can end the auction without changing the rate and using the new money. It will totally mess up the economy. All of this work they've been doing for all these years will just be wiped away. So this guy, what he's complaining about is the worst thing is the lack of serious solutions from the Central Bank of Iraq to this situation, but rather the move towards canceling the platform by the end of 2024. So remember now, he's the guy that freaked everyone out when he said early 2025. And now here he is saying platform by the end, closing the platform by the end of 2024 and handing over the dollar file to banks affiliated with foreign investors and banks. And it says Jordanian and Gulf country. So they're like, wait a minute, there's no Iraqi banks that are going to be able to get the dollar, right? So then you can read this, and I may go over this again tomorrow. But Hantush wondered, why is the work of the platform not being extended in coordination with the new U.S. administration? Could it be they're going to wrap everything up and be done and change the rate before the new administration comes in? That's our hope, right? And also, why are Iraqi banks not guaranteed to open an account for themselves in correspondent banks in dollars in Citibank and JP Morgan as the other countries of the region have done? So I think his concerns, well, clearly his concerns will eventually be addressed, but his bashing right? Because he doesn't have all the information. And nor does he need it. He's not in the government. He's not in the CBI. He does not need all the information. So, all right. So I went over, I apologize. I should have done that way before I did all the other articles. But anyway, thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. You can see and I kind of like, we can see the battles that are going on, right? People wonder why there's delays and everything, and you can see why. And Sudani is trying his best to get this done, get it done right, right? So I still have 2% hope for December. I do. All right. Again, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. All right. Um, what else? If there's a like, join, follow, subscribe, whatever button, wherever you are enjoying this content, take the action to activate that because I don't update regularly. And if all things work like they're supposed to, if you have those buttons ignited, when I do update, you'll be notified. All right. Thanks again. And enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're listening to this. And until next time, thank you.